What is going on, everybody? I am the Veteran Miner. We have Max Voltage, Vistang, GPU Risers, and Endless Mining. Wow. Welcome, guys. Appreciate you coming on the show. And let's just get right into it. Hopefully nothing's muted. Hopefully the transition was good, and let's go with it. Max, go first. How you doing?
Well, I was just going to comment that you didn't really give me a choice. You demanded that I be on the show.
Kind of, sort of. So. I mean, it was just like, hey, Max, you know, you want to, I knew he was going to say that too.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
I know.
It was just funny. It was like the assumed close. Hey, I invented the assumed close, man.
I was like, Max, what are you doing? You want to talk about something?
No.
Or...
You didn't know. There was no question in what you said. It was funny. It was very funny. There was certainly no question. It was like, well, yeah, of course you're going to be on the show tonight. Like,
well, yeah.
Anyway, it was hilarious. But yeah, what you brought up before the show was pretty darn interesting.
Do you want to get right into that?
For us.
Do you want to get into that right now, guys, or we'll just talk about everybody? Just talk about what's going on, and then we'll get into that afterwards. Then, right? Sounds good.
Fine.
Because I can bring up the
what you're doing.
I can bring up the document too. I was going to bring it up as well.
Stuff going on. I mean, I'm working with you on 47810 rigs, trying to get some wiring, and looking forward to doing that. That's my little project. I was planning on actually doing a video tonight, but this kind of, interfered. So that's my excuse.
You were planning on doing a video. You're gonna do it though. Planning. Don't use me as an excuse, Max.
It'll be tomorrow now, but okay. Yeah, I'll definitely be doing one tomorrow.
Sounds good. Endless Mining. Talk to me. What is going on? This is the first time on the show. The second time, I'm not sure.
I think it's the first time.
First time?
Yeah. This one, yeah. I think this one's the first one. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I really do. But everything's good here. Healthy. Under a roof. Happy to be here.
Okay.
It is good. Yeah.
Excellent.
You want me to give you anything else? Any other information?
I don't know. What else you want to tell me? Talk to me.
Ask away. You got ask me a question. Interview me. Whatever you want.
Well, we'll probably get into that later on. That sounds like a good topic to that we can discuss and see if anybody has some questions for you later on too in the chat. And our good old Vistang GPU Risers, buddy. How are you?
Tired. I woke up about an hour ago, so I'm still getting up. I traveling back and forth to Kansas is like it's so many like layovers. I mean, just one layover, right? But it's like it's really in the middle of nowhere. But it's a great place. It's just the traveling is a lot, especially since the flights are always at 7 a.m. always, no matter what. So got to be up at like 5, or when I flew there, I had to be up at like 3:45. But I don't know. When you have something like the next day, I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but like it's so hard for me to sleep. I have like an internal alarm clock every hour that's waking me up. So I got back probably around 4 and then probably crashed around 5 and woke up an hour ago. So I was on last night on Terrahash Tuesday. So
yes,
I mentioned a little bit about what we're doing over there. So I'm not going to go over everything again, but I am excited. I got a special package coming in the mail from Dave. I got an alert today from some website called the Veteran Miner. I have my orders getting fulfilled, so excited for that. I'm doing another 4090 build. I know everyone thinks I'm crazy, but I've been following like the FEs on Best Buy, and I got 2 of them. So
that's really sweet. No, I don't think you're crazy. I definitely don't think that. I mean, I've done the math when it comes to efficiency, as well as how much processing they have. Yeah, I think it'll pay itself off in 12 months anyway, right?
Yeah, that's right around what I kind of was calculating. So
Yeah, and if you buy a 3090, pretty much it's not that far off. It's just a lower dollar amount. So,
exactly, it's the same thing.
Yeah. So I mean, why wouldn't you get? And believe me, I'm kind of going over this in my mind a number of times. It's just that $1,500, $1,600. It's parting with that in one shot versus I'll buy this one for $450 or $500. I can do that, you know. So, but no, I totally get it. Makes sense.
Yeah. And I still have like the mentality of the last bull run where I think I have a 3090 Ti in my computer now, and I bought that new from EVGA for like $2,200 or something. So I'm like, okay, if I did that, then like it's not so crazy if I, you know, do this other thing. But yeah, the math kind of evens out regardless of cards. So you know, you only have so much real estate on every board. So my idea is kind of like if you're spending X amount on a board, you might as well spend on that. But I'll probably diversify into other cards, you know, as time goes, just kind of consolidating right now. That's really what I'm doing. So, and it's hard to pass up the FEs. So,
well, that's really good. But what's the difference between the FEs and the other ones that you purchased? Is there any difference at all?
I think the FEs are just made very well. They have the chips on them are binned a lot higher. Mm-hmm. Not a lot higher, but they're equal to like the higher end cards, like the Strixes and everything like that, from my knowledge. FEs back in like the 2000 series and 1000 series weren't so great, but they really started doing well on them. The thermals are good on them, and they're also the cheapest card. So it's like they're the cheapest and they're a lot better than the middle ground cards.
And let's be serious, they're beautiful. They're like it's like they're like all metal, and it's just they're just gorgeous. The other ones, you got plastic shrouds on them, and they got nice heat sinks, but they're just kind of, you know, very functional, as opposed to the FE just looks like, in my opinion, looks like a piece of art.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. So yeah, I couldn't pass it up. So I have my third one that I'm building now. But
so how are you finding when the FEs come in?
Honestly, just I just get notified on my Best Buy app, and I get an email. Yeah, I know that sounds crazy because it's like that was not like that the last bull run, but like,
what the hell?
All, you know what I mean? But like,
do you like go into that item and actually say notify me when available or something like that?
Well, actually, the first one I got was 5 days ago. I ordered it, and I just randomly checked it and found it. And I was on the plane this morning at like 7 a.m. and I checked it, and it said that they're available again. So I ordered another one this morning because you have a quantity limit of one each time. Right. But I would know. I'm sorry. The first one was an email I got, but this morning I didn't check my emails. I just went on the app and it was there. Maybe it's just the area I'm in. I could check again and see.
That definitely has a lot to do with it. If you're in an area that has multiple Best Buys that might carry them, and you're in a smaller metropolitan area, like I said, my wife got all those GPUs. She was in Huntsville, so it's a smaller metropolitan area. So you've got, you know, the same number of GPUs to go around a fewer number of people. You're in a huge metropolitan area that may only have 1, 2, maybe 3 Best Buys that have them. Yeah, there's going to be fewer to go around to people.
Yeah, I think I just got lucky with these. Let me see if they're they're sold out. I think I just got lucky with it.
I was checking right now. I don't see any in stock.
Yeah, they're out of stock.
Checking in my area.
It's because Mike just bought them all, guys. Don't even bother.
Right.
I think it was just it's
and what's the price on those? What's the FEs? How much are the FEs?
$15.99.
And how much were the other ones that you purchased?
I actually purchased another Zotac because I didn't think I would get a second FE. So I actually have a third 4090 that's already delivered actually. And that one was, I think, like $17.50 or something.
Wow.
It's not that much of a difference, but you get a better card, right? So like you're paying less for a better card. So that's really what, you know, the big thing is for me, I guess.
You're paying less for a better card, you just said, right?
Yeah. So it's, you know, it's not like you're just trying to get the cheapest 4090 possible, but you're trying to get like one of the highest quality 4090s and also the cheapest. Yeah, I think the Zotac I got was $1,700, and those are the Amp Extreme Aero ones, which are okay. I have 2 of those, and they're quiet. That's what's nice about them. But kind of like what Max was saying, they're like, you feel like you can like bend it. It's so plasticky, and for something that's that expensive, it's like, why would you not just spend an extra $20 on some material? And make it look good. But I think their margins are so razor thin on this because they're competing with Founders Editions that are better than what they can put out for us.
What
I guess
about
that's why EVGA left.
The holding mounts? Did you purchase anything for those cards in the rigs that you built?
No.
For the it might like
so they
come out, sag or come off the PCIe thing.
They don't sag too much.
No.
Sorry, just seeing your face saying no right after that. No, the Supremes come with like the mount, the bracket. So sorry, I'm still like trying to wake up, but just seeing your face right after saying that. But no, the Supremes come with some, but I don't use them. They were like too hard to use. They honestly didn't make that much of a difference. So
I mean, they probably didn't. They weren't meant for like to have two Supremes right next to each other either. Like a fucking sandwich over there. So,
so they do that, but no, they're fine. They're fine in there.
The Asus ones, as I got a 4070 Ti Asus, and they come with a nice sag preventer. Basically, it's just like a little peg with an extension, and then you just tighten it down.
That's it.
That's it. I mean, it's simple, but it works. Works great.
Yeah, but having two of them, it's like the base is kind of. It does have the base is kind of big. It's like a circular base. It's
not really that big. It's basically it's like an octagon, and so or a hexagon, I should say. And so yeah, it's just one hexagon into another one, and you unscrew it, and you basically I think it's. I don't think it was spring loaded. I think you had to like pull it out a little bit and then just extend it up to the right length, tighten it down, and now it won't sag.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna be getting some 3090s in. They're coming in tomorrow. Those have a sag issue too, or no? Like you guys have more experience with 3090s than I do. I never owned one, so.
See, I've got everything. All my 3090s are sitting. Well, I take that back. That one behind me is a 3090, and yeah, it does have a sag issue.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
they're FEs, so I don't know if they're heavier than that's a For the Win 3 card. It looks like.
Yeah, I actually took the foam from the power supply for a different unit. It was a Thermaltake power supply, and basically cut out pieces of foam and basically use that as my sag protector.
Okay. All right. I'm sure like something 3D printed could get printed that you can put, because you could do a lot of crazy stuff with 3D printers. Maybe like a dual like nut that you could, it could extend with 3D printer and then just put like the two plastic nuts together and tighten it up for like an anti-sag. I was thinking about that, or, because my son can make that stuff too. So I figure maybe we can entertain that. If not, I'll just buy something. But the 3090s are going to be in a single rig anyway, so it's going to be conventional, like one card per, desktop or workstation. So I'm not worried about that. I don't think I would ever try to put two 3090s back to back. The 3060s right now, in one of the rigs that I have, one of the Vast AI rigs, they are so freaking close. I actually cut out cable, like a piece of wire that's like thick. I forgot what gauge it was. When I did my 30 amp service, right, for the brick, and I was like, I cut a piece of wire, took the copper out, and it's just like a little rubber that just basically goes in between the two 3060s. It pushes up just enough to make sure the fans don't hit each other. I don't know if you had any problems. Like when I turned it on, I could have sworn I heard the fan a little bit touching the other 3060. So maybe there was like a little bit extra sag that was, because those things you can't tighten them up. They're just clips. You know that, Max. They're just clips on those workstations. Yep. They're strong as hell, but they're only clips.
Right now, I've had all my workstations laying down. I haven't had any of them.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay.
Yet I do have plans to get them standing straight up, so I will have to
take a look at the 3060s. You have two, right?
Right.
Yeah. It was just enough that I pressed it up on this, but you could see in the back, even on the 36, you could see in the back a little bit because it's so close, right? Using the 16X, it's really, really, really close. Yep. And I just put a little gasket basically in between. It's not touching anything else, and it just lifts just enough to make sure that if the fans are going 100% or whatever, not gonna have any issues. That's the little. Makes sense. Yeah, I should just do a short show everybody about like what I did, because I'm sure people are like, what the hell, But anyway, the 3090s FEs, they're coming. I'm pretty excited to build some more rigs. All of mine are rented. What about you guys?
All mine are rented.
I have one that's rented, one that's not.
I have no rigs running on any sort of Vast AI or any of these, but I definitely want to give it a shot.
So you're gonna jump on a bandwagon? You're gonna make it happen?
I want to give it a shot, at least with one of them. But I was, Mike, I wanted to ask you a question. I see that you guys are you guys fans? Are you guys into the FEs, Founders Edition cards? Have you found good reliability with those cards? Because I haven't. I've had bad luck with those cards. I've had cards that just overheat. Just
which generation?
I was a 3090s, 3080s.
Really?
I was trying with the Founders Editions, and they would just overheat all the time, especially with mining. At that time, it was Ethereum mining, of course, right?
Okay, well, let's back up a second. So you're talking about when we were mining Ethereum, specifically. Yeah, so, yeah, those cards pretty much, yeah, I can see that. They probably weren't set up to be as cooled as some of the other aftermarket cards.
Yeah.
Which do have a little bit more cooling on the memory.
Yeah.
But with what we're doing with Vast AI, that's not anywhere near as important. I haven't seen any type of spikes like I did with Ethereum mining when doing Vast AI. So
yeah,
what
I think also in server cases they're not as good.
What kind of temperatures are you guys seeing on those rigs? Like, what's the highest that you've seen? And do you typically have to have the cards separated, or do you typically only have like just two cards on one rig, or how do you guys typically go about doing the setup?
Mine are 2-card setups, so it's a server motherboard, but they're crammed up. I mean, it's two 4090s right on top of one another. The hottest I've seen is 78C.
Okay.
And that's when they were really hammering the graphics. I mean, it was like 440 watts. I think they were pulling on it. But then the bottom GPU was probably like 54 or something like that. It's because they're crammed right next to each other. But haven't had any issues. I mean, it doesn't feel that hot next to it, but it's definitely that hot. So, but I think adding a third one in there would definitely overdo it. But
yeah, the one behind me is running at 74. But it's pretty warm in this room. So that definitely has an effect because it heats up this room quite nicely.
Winter's coming. We're gonna need that heat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that you can tell by the one behind me. It's kind of tight. It's not like it has a ton of space for airflow underneath it.
Yeah.
So it's not ideal. My other one is running at 55. Yeah. But it's basically completely open air and there's no cards next to it. And that's the FE. And it's running at 55.
It's running at 55. Wow.
Full
the one
board.
Behind you, what is that? EVGA?
Holy crap.
What was that?
The one behind you, is that EVGA?
That's the EVGA for the Win 3, yeah.
Yeah. This is my favorite card. EVGA was rest in peace EVGA now, but
I know. I wanted one of those really bad. I have FEs coming and I'm not mad about that, of course, but I definitely want to I just look what it looks like. I mean, just look at Max's background. I have a 3070 that's the same one that does the same thing. It's a 3070 though. It's not much to talk about, you know, but hey, you got to start somewhere.
I don't know. When I go downstairs and I see that 3090 with that white glow, I don't know. It just looks classic to me.
They're sexy, huh?
Yeah, they really are.
Sexy cards.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, the FEs, they light up?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
I'll find out.
Just the wording on the side of the card.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The 4090 does that too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. This is actually my first 4090, but I can't imagine they would take that away.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
I'll take some pics once I get it up. I should have everything up. When are those cords coming in, Dave?
2 days.
So I'll probably have them up Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, I figure we're gonna do it on a weekend anyway. But you have a couple extra things there, so don't set everything up completely. I gave you something else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's nothing to talk about, but it'll match what you're doing if it shows. I don't know if it shows or not though.
Okay.
I mean, if you want me to tell you now, you can Just tell you right now.
Yeah, no, I'm
you want to know?
Yeah.
So I have pure white SATA cables. They're white like the cables. So if your SATA shows at all, you'll see it. But it's just pretty cool. Plus you have the cables that you got as well.
Yeah. Nice.
The little package, little care package. They're pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been going through all the inventory and all the SATA cables, and I think we're gonna probably try a different avenue on another platform to sell the SATA cables as well as the website. It's just I have to make my own SKU numbers, and the other platforms I'm trying to do, the shipping is a little bit cheaper, and just want to sell them and just I'm using them on every single rig that I'm using right now, all different colors and everything else. Like when I did the shorts, you could see all different colors on all the workstations. So the green, blue, red, clear. We have white, black, red. I said red. There's another different type of red as well. So yeah, it's pretty cool though. But yeah, tell me what you think about them. I'm curious. Yeah. And then I'm working on cables with Max too. So the last short, since we're talking about cables, I'll just get that out of the way so we don't kill the rest of the stream, right? So on the workstations, 10 pin to dual 10 pin. The reason why I'm working on that because Hobbyist Miner gave me a whole freaking workstation that's all cut up and all in a whole bunch of parts and pieces. So he wants to be able to use an ATX power supply. I'm still trying to get that to work, but I'm looking for a wire that rests at ground only when turned on. But I don't want to get into all electronics and everything else, so I'm working on resistors and trying to figure out how I can manipulate this power supply to get an ATX power supply to work. Once I can get that to work, then I'm going to try to get an ATX power supply to turn on this motherboard. So it's like baby steps. I can convert an 8-pin CPU to a 10-pin. That's not a problem at all. Regular power supplies will give you 2 CPU connections anyway. But what I'm able to do right now is get a single 10-pin to dual 10-pin to power up the 2 CPUs on a 7810. That's what Max has. I have one of those as well. Because now we could utilize a 10-pin now and an 8-pin, and now you could put 2 GPUs. You'll have 4 8-pin connections for 2 GPUs in a 7810 when you never had that option before. The most you can do is only 2 pins because the 2 10 pins are dedicated to the CPUs. But the CPUs only are about 120 watts, if that. That's only 240 watts. My cables can handle that without a question. So it's just manipulating, and since I can make these type of plugs, really utilizing the power supply as most efficiently as possible, and that's the game plan. So Max will have the first 10-pin to dual 10-pin. I don't have it on the website yet. I have it running right now just to make sure. I always have to double check. We have to run tests, and we're gonna have to put a lot of power on it too. So this may I have to put mine on Vast AI and see if they're gonna just TDP my CPUs as well. That's what the whole end game is. Maybe I might have to rent it to TDP those CPUs, or we could find another way that we can TDP the CPUs to make sure that nothing gets overheated and everything else. But so that's the game plan. So Max will have that. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, and then he also has other cables that he's looking to do because he has the 7810s and 5810s. Max, you have both of them, right?
And both of what? The
Dell's workstation 7810 and 5810, or just 7810s?
No, just 7810s.
Just 7810s. So, you don't have to worry about that if you're only using one CPU now. If you're only using one CPU, you don't need the other 10 pin. That other 10 pin could be utilized like the cable that I have on the website right now. So
correct. So I've got one set up so far. I have these 2 guys waiting to go in the second one, but I want to get those cables in hand and get that one up and running, make sure everything works like we think it's gonna, and start building. I've already talked with my supplier to get 2 more. He said he would still sell them to me. He still has some to sell to me, so I'll get those, and then I'm gonna make 2. So these were the 2 I'm making right now are going to be 2 3060 rigs, and then the other two are going to be two 3060 Ti rigs.
Interesting.
So yeah, and in that case I'll go from 3 mining rigs down to 2.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Stealing from Peter to pay Paul.
Makes sense.
That's exactly what I've been doing.
Yeah, it makes sense. And you know what? My last rig, it was the same setup. Actually, it's less. It's half the amount of RAM that's offered. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put a dollar amount that I feel that it's what's worth it since what I see out there, right? Someone has been on there for the storage, and it's been going on and off for a while now. Like, it was just storage. I guess they're ready to like deploy, and then once they fully deployed, they haven't got off of it, and they're using more than what's the rental cost, right? So it's very, very beneficial, just like the original one too. So I'm pretty happy with that. Overall experience with Vast, so far so good. So I will continue deploying, the 3090s and see what happens. But I mean, you only have so much bandwidth, man. I mean,
yeah,
that's another key factor you have to take into consideration.
I do know, well, the story. So one of the reasons when I had my last outage, it was relatively short. It wasn't the end of the world or anything, but they kept telling me there's nothing wrong. This is individual to you. So when the service came back up, I didn't cancel the appointment that they set up. So then they're like bugging me the next day. Hey, we found a problem in your neighborhood. We fixed it. Do you still need the appointment? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not at home. I can't test. So specifically wanted him to come out, make sure everything was running okay. But I wanted to pick his brain and find out like, okay, what's going on? And he's like, well, we've been having a lot of meetings about rolling out, the next generation, and that's got the 200 meg upload. So yeah, that's coming. He says, what I've been told is that it's coming in January, but as you know, it won't necessarily come in January to everyone at the same time. So, or it may, I don't know. So he's been given some information, but he hadn't been given a lot. So he was wondering, the guy across the street that already has it, he's like, they're probably just lucky because they're testing it. So yeah, it's rolled out to him, but it's just kind of by chance that he has it. And we of course joked about, well, I asked him, can you bore underneath the street and get me connected to the other node? He's like, no, but maybe we could, string it over the trees, over, just make sure it's high enough so trucks can go underneath it. So yeah, it's pretty fun.
Well, speaking about internet, I was just able to have an appointment with the fiber company at my shop. It's not cheap, but I might be able to get fiber at my shop.
Oh, nice.
In a couple of months, though. It's not going to be right away. But it's going to be business fiber, so you're going to pay more money because it's business fiber. But I can get up to 10 gigs if I want.
Oh, that's nice. Is it a big
How much is it?
Price?
So 2 gigs right now is roughly around $300.
Oh shoot, I can get 10 gig at my house for $300.
It's not a bad price though. I don't know what part of the country you're in, but it's not a bad price.
Well, it's business. That's the problem. It's like business. So now, it's going to be symmetrical up and down. And he said there's different what was he saying? There's different plans, dedication, or just having, like, Mike probably would understand this. What is that called? A tunnel. Like, I would have my own dedicated tunnel to my shop if I wanted it. So it could get some serious.
Instead of shared bandwidth, you'd have dedicated bandwidth.
I would have a dedicated tunnel to my shop that basically, and then it was like, I forgot the amount of money, but I could get they started like 10, 20, 30 static IP addresses as well. So I have a lot of things working in the background when I'm thinking about I might be doing, but that's going to be able to make some things happen too at the shop.
Yeah, so. I've seriously thought about it. But yeah, with Comcast, it's like $1,000 up front for the construction. Takes about 5 months for them to 5 to 6 months for them to actually get it to your house. Because they got to schedule so much, they need permits, all that kind of stuff. But basically, they go from your node, which already has fiber going to it, and then basically going to the box in the backyard, and then putting the fiber through your yard. The fiber through the yard is no problem. It's getting it to your box that is the project. But I did actually look into it, and they said yes, you would be eligible.
How much would it be a month?
It's like $330 a month, because that includes all the networking equipment. You do have to have a rack for the equipment.
Yeah, I mean,
so
how the hell would you be able to? I mean, so
the funny thing is, they're talking about you need a rack, but there's the equipment's come so far that you don't need a rack anymore. You can get like a little box about yay big that will do 10 gig routing.
Right.
So it's not really necessary anymore. But that's what they're basically trying to figure out if you're serious. But yeah, it's the $1,000 up front plus the rack for the equipment.
I mean, that's a small commitment, Max. If you really think of $1,000 bucks.
Well, then it's a 24 month
contract
that you are responsible for 100% of whatever's left on that contract for those 24 months. So it's, it's straight going through, and it's $330 a month.
And they consider that residential or no?
Yeah, it's residential.
Residential.
Yep. Huh. Yeah, there's a number of people you can find them out there that they originally had it at 6 gig, and I think a couple months ago it was upgraded to 10.
Wow.
Yeah, 10 gig both ways. Now there isn't a lot of equipment out there that can actually do 10 gig both ways. You're going to get about 7 to 8.
I mean, the normal thing is, these computers now, they'll have like a 2.5 gig port.
Right.
The PCs these days. That's about it, though. That's like a norm, right? Yeah. I mean, 3 gig. You really have to do a lot of shit to be trying to utilize all this stuff anyway.
You really do.
Like Fast
I'd like to have 1 gig up and down. That would help out a lot.
Yeah.
But 200 will allow me to do a lot more than I'm doing now. Hopefully be enough to get verified, because I'm not verified on
That's right. I'm not verified either at all. I'm 99.5 right now.
I've got one of my rigs. It's 99.6 and still not enough to get verified, evidently. Do you have any of your verified this thing?
Nope, 99.63 on one, 99.2 on the other. But I think that it's just like a 2-card 4090 rig is probably just more, abundant. There's probably more supply of it than other rigs, and maybe that has something to do with it. I'm sure if you have like an 8-card or something like that rig, they'll probably get verified a little bit quicker. But no one really knows, right?
Yeah, the more cards you have, they have said that there is some documentation on their site that if you do have a multi-card rig, you are much more likely to get verified than on a single card rig.
Oh, no shit.
Well, unless of course you're king, and then you're king, so then you get verified.
King gets verified and everything because he's king. They know him. Oh, king, verified.
Yep.
Yeah, my plan is to. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask if they have any sort of documentation of how to get verified, because it sounds like a lot of people.
No, it's a luck of the draw, and you're not guaranteed to get verified ever.
Yeah, it's very vague. I think intentionally so that they don't have any, liability of why am I not verified? Because when you're verified, you can set a much higher price. It's much more profitable when you're verified.
Are there any numbers that we can see? Like I was just thinking, like, okay, how much does that, how much does a 1060 make? How much does like depending on your setup, how much money can you make on this? Because I feel like there's a lot of there's not too much information out there on this. So I think it would be great to have something like that. I don't know if they're
they have an open marketplace, so you can kind of see like what people are listing them for. The 4090s I have are listed at 45 cents. But I have one that's not rented right now, so I might as well drop it to 40. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The verified ones get rented for probably around 50 cents. So
5 cents is a big deal when that all you calculate that plus I guess the hard drive space or something like that they utilize, up and down speeds that they utilize, certain amount of terabytes or something like that. So it's like it adds up quick. I'm renting one rig just for, what was it, 5 cents? I think we put it up. I put it for 5 cents, but it's equivalent to like $2 a day. So do the math on that. So it's not being rented for 5 cents an hour, So
they're using the internet and they're using storage.
Yeah. I know it's like sometimes, I guess it's not consistent, but you got like 500 up or 400 down or something like that. So they're using it. I guess I'll keep on putting rigs on there until basically I have issues with using my own internet. If I'm trying to do something or I'm live streaming, then I think basically I could finalize what the cap would be. How many rigs can you run at your personal home with one up and down? I mean, I don't have, it's not symmetrical, man. I think I have like, 1,000 and then maybe 850 or something,
Yeah.
It's not, it's shared. I have shared fiber. It's residential. So
Yeah, same with me. Yeah.
But let me see.
I am planning on eventually combining all of these. That's why I'm buying these Epic boards and stuff like that. I do want to consolidate all these 4090s down to one big rig eventually, like 8 of them. It's just
here's where I'm a little confused. A lot of people are talking about Epics, but what is it that we really need from Epic? And that's all the PCIe lanes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So can't we get those from the Threadripper?
Yeah, that's I don't know the answer to that, but all I know is that just looking at the analytics on what is renting, it's all Epics. So that's why I went with that. I don't know if people use them more at that scale when you have 8 cards on a single rig. I really don't. Because you could go with, Xeons, you could go with other options for the 16X lanes. But I kind of just went with that because that's what was renting out there. When I bought all this stuff in the beginning, it was just, I don't want to buy something and test the waters, because there's probably a reason why these guys are using what they're using.
I just want to say to Super Chat, thank you, Brian Hollywood, for $10 Super Chat. Best cables out there. Don't be shy. Order and pay this man his money. I appreciate you, Brian Hollywood. X99 boards. That's what you're using, right, Mike? They're X99 or no?
No, they're the Super Micro.
Super Micro.
Yeah,
boards.
They're H12S LL, something like that. It's
Is X99 only for Xeon or no? The X99 board would be for AMD too, right? For Epic as well?
I don't think so, no.
It's only Xeon processors? Or Intel? I thought this X99 was for...
The X99?
You could use
I thought that was Intel. I don't...
Is that all Intel? Might be. Money King will probably have the answer for that.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a question.
Okay, shoot.
Little Timmy out there.
Oh God. Sounds like. Oh boy.
What's the first? What would be the optimal rig that you would recommend for little Timmy to start playing with all of this fast AI and
I would recommend nothing.
What you have.
Yeah.
Use what you have.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, but there's no optimal build that you would say, okay, this is the build that this is the meta build. This is what you should be going for.
I've got various things going on. I mean, I got a 5600X processor downstairs on a B550 motherboard with a 3090, and it's rented.
Yep.
So, I mean, use what you have is what my suggestion would be. Then if you really get into it and you start really kind of evaluating the cost and all that, and you're willing to put in the investment, then maybe do it. But I
agree.
Yeah, get familiar with it first, just like with mining. The same thing I always recommend with mining is get familiar with it first, and then dive deeper into it at that point.
Yeah.
And let's say I get to the point where I want to invest into it. Well, what's the best bang for my buck? What's the best motherboard? What's the best CPU out there?
So that's one of the things I'm looking at. In fact, that's one of the links I have up in the chat, in our private chat here. Threadripper is coming out with an announcement tomorrow, and they're going back to having Threadripper non-pro models. Used to be just pro models, which were like super stupid expensive. Now they're going back to non-pro models. And that was one of the reasons why I was asking, because Threadripper and Epic are similar in what they can do. One's more for workstation loads, the other one's more for server loads. But I'm curious from a PCIe lane perspective, which one has more PCIe lanes, because I think that's going to be kind of the big thing. And I think there haven't been as many Threadrippers made because with Ryzen getting as powerful as it is and Epic's being there, it was kind of squeezing out Threadripper. Well, I don't know why, but maybe because of AI, maybe because of people doing stuff at home. I don't know the reason, but it appears that AMD is reinvigorated with the Threadripper with this new announcement. So I'm really curious to see what what their capabilities are going to be, especially from a PCIe lane perspective. How many GPUs, 16 lane PCIe 4, could you get on one of the Threadripper motherboards, and what would be the price of something like that? How much money could you make on something like that? So I'm kind of curious about that.
So it's not available, you're saying, Max, right now. They're just saying that they could implement this. They're thinking about implementing it.
Yeah, there's older Threadrippers that I don't think have come down much in price. Again, I haven't looked into it specifically.
Right.
But typically, when there's something that's a newer generation of product, the older generation goes down. Well, the last generation, my understanding is they did not have pro models, because that was the big thing that they were making a big deal out of. I watched Gamer Meld, and he was talking about this on his latest video today. If you don't subscribe to him, subscribe to him. He has a lot of good information that he puts out at least a couple times a week. Anyway, so he was talking about it today, and that now they're going to have the non-pro model again. So I think the 2 generations old Threadripper might become more affordable, and maybe still have the benefit of those PCIe lanes, kind of like we're doing with the older Xeons. So I don't know. I think the thing is, there's not like a right or wrong answer at this point. It's kind of experimentation.
Yeah, at least from what I've seen from an investment standpoint, it's kind of like you have to ask yourself what kind of investment you want to make and what kind of exposure you want in this, because, you know, people will talk all day, you know, especially when I first got into this stuff. Oh, you know, 3060 makes this, 3080 makes this, 3090 makes this. And after I jumped into it and started looking at the numbers, it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, you could buy 3060s for $200 and make just say 5 cents, but then you have to have 8 of them to make 40 cents, and that's $1,600. So that's what a 4090. So it's everyone's setup is different. That's why I agree with Max. Use what you have. I didn't have any 3090s, but I knew I wanted to go that route with the consolidation, because I had a bunch of other cards that weren't. I didn't have any 3060 12 gigabytes or anything like that. I had tons of 3070s and all of this stuff. So it's people are paying for compute power. So if it's, you know, it's going to be cheaper to rent, you know, 4 cards at a lower rate than what 1 card would be, they might go that route. That's why I think it's, when it comes down to it, all these are very close. They're all within like 5-10% of the price. Now, once you do get into like the larger, yeah, exactly. So it kind of just is how much do you want to put into it, you know, and how I saw it, at least with the motherboards, because my long-term goal is to have, you know, 6 to 8 card 4090 rigs. So I want to buy the motherboards now for that, and then just, you know, use them for that rather than, using the workstations and stuff like that, because I see these being bought up, especially with the return on this. You know, it's less than a year return, which is crazy. I know a lot of people aren't used to that with Ethereum, you know, because 3060 Ti's were making $6 a day, but how I see it, at least, it's a really, really good return and not that much depreciation on the hardware. You know, these boards and these, you know, processors are all used. The 4090s are new, of course, but yeah, it kind of comes down to what you want to put into it, and kind of what your plan would be going forward. So that's kind of where I am with
Here's the thing that I look at is, this is an absolutely phenomenal time. Last bear market, we didn't have this opportunity to take our hardware and actually make money with it.
Yeah.
You have the ability to go out and get hardware at retail prices and make money on it and have it pay itself off in around 12 months or so. That wasn't possible back then. And I know that the mining diehards out there are like, yeah, but you know, you're taking stuff away from, supporting crypto and all that kind of stuff. I get that, but when it really comes right down to it, you're setting yourself up to allow yourself to say, well, okay, I could take this and now support crypto and use this hardware now that it becomes more profitable. So it really, and that was the other part. I know DJ was here. I don't know if he still is here, but we talked about this on a stream about a little over a week ago. But that's the other part, is AI will become more profitable. Absolutely will become more profitable, because it just has to. If mining becomes more profitable, people are going to take their hardware off of AI workloads and put it onto mining, which means less supply to go around, and those prices will then go up. It's just economics.
It's another market variable, and I think it's good. You know, it's a good thing, and that's
until it possibly gets oversaturated.
Well,
but the market's growing though. That's the thing.
So we got in at the right time. Is that what you're saying? Because
I
kind of feel
very. This is like, well, it's not the bleeding edge. The bleeding edge was like 2019, 2020 when Fast AI first started. But we're still so early in it. So
yeah, no one saw it because Ethereum was so profitable, and then the fallout from Ethereum and everything like that, it just didn't get a whole lot of attention. So like Max said, I think that was like the bleeding edge then, but now it's still extremely profitable. I mean, it's
I mean, yeah,
but it's again, it's not like ditching the crypto projects. That's why I really like the proof of useful work stuff. You know, I'm really hoping that comes to fruition, like they're saying it is, because then you can ebb and flow between mining and then proof of useful work. I know Vast, you can do that, right? Like you can mine if you're not.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Most people don't know that is that if you don't have a bid that's high enough, you can just go ahead and mine. And until you get a bid that's at a certain level, you can mine.
Yeah.
And switch over once you have something that pays more than mining.
Yeah. King got a super chat saying, I got some 580s. Can I get on Vast? Yeah. We have a 970 on Vast, don't we?
I don't think you could put a 580. Isn't it an AMD card?
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah.
So it's not supported. So that was the super chat from King, and he's trolling. You know, obviously. He's freaking trolling the shit out of me. It makes me think about these things.
King should get a different handle and just do.
If he did that, yeah. So AMD is not supported. And King knows that, but for anybody that didn't know, there's no AMD that's supported, I know. So
he was asking a question. He was definitely trolling. I got some 580s. Can I get on Vast?
But you didn't get me, King, because I learned from you. I learned from the best. So
yeah, he is the nicest troll. He really is.
You, get on, King. Get on here. You get on right now.
But I think with the AI craze, that kind of goes into that article we were talking about a little earlier with the SEC and everything with NVIDIA. And I think, was it today? I don't know if it was today or yesterday. But NVIDIA is not allowed to ship 4090s to China, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Vietnam.
You want me to bring this thing up? So hold on 1 second. Yeah. Let's bring it up. I wasn't. Is that big enough? No. Let's see. I have to go into the other window.
The other thing that's really interesting is that all of the AIBs, except for one big one, actually can easily move their manufacturing to Taiwan. But Colorful is exclusively in China. So the article that I posted in the chat, it states in there that maybe NVIDIA will increase their sales to Colorful until the deadline, to get them as many chips as possible, which kind of defeats the purpose. But it's
pretty soon though, right? It's a month, right?
Yeah, November 16th, I think.
Yeah, I
think they have to give them 30 days, so that would be November 16th.
But yeah, this is going to be interesting to see where this goes.
Commission, Washington D.C. So there's an 8-K. So Mike or Max, I was able to read a little bit about it. So the meat and potatoes about this is basically, you were saying NVIDIA basically can't sell to China.
It can't sell anything 4090 and above, basically. So you have 4090, which is a consumer card, and all the other ones like H100, H800, and all the other ones in between.
Okay.
They cannot sell.
Yeah, scroll down a little bit, Dave.
Okay, yeah.
Now the interesting thing is there are
right there
outs. In other words, they can get approval, and I don't know under what reasons they can have an approval, but they can apply for approval for an exception.
No.
So they can't get rid of their, I guess, B stock to China, because that's what NVIDIA does. NVIDIA usually gets rid of their B stock that doesn't meet the top of the line, to sell their cards.
That's what people have said, is that like the A100s and H100s that they do get prior to this were always limited, which I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Because NVIDIA is obviously going to be working with like all the intelligence agencies, and they have a lot going on behind the scenes with all this stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if all of that was built into it.
They have testing, just like R&D anywhere you go on major companies. They're testing. It doesn't meet the testing requirements, but it's still a working chip. But it doesn't meet their passing requirements. They're not just going to get rid of that and throw that shit away. That costs money. So
it's almost like an LHR, right? Like it would maybe a lock or something. I don't know. They must have had something though, you know.
Exactly.
But it's interesting seeing it now because the U.S. is kind of seeing this stuff almost like, you know, military applications. You know what I mean? Where it's like, we want to keep China, we want to keep these other countries behind us, and so now we have to keep chips from them. You know what I mean? It's
the interesting thing about it is, I mean, come on, what has China done? They have mastered reverse engineering.
Yeah,
they've done it so much that they've mastered it. So what? Now they're just like, well, that's fine. We'll just, if you're not going to let me buy it, then we're definitely going to reverse engineer it and build it and get the same thing. That's now you basically put a step behind, maybe by a year or two, but you know, it actually hurts NVIDIA. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. I understand the reasons behind it,
right?
But I feel like it's like playing whack-a-mole. You know, great. We stop them here, but they just find another way around it.
Yeah, which might be renting them, right?
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
you know, especially with the crypto, you know, trade that's going on. Because there's another thing that was talked about recently in politics for crypto with supporting, you know, some of these terrorist organizations around the world, or not supporting, but, you know, being used to go, you know, slide through sanctions and all this kind of stuff. Because I remember during the bull run, I was, you know, everyone was trying to get GPUs, right? So I was talking with one of my suppliers over in China for 6700 XTs, and they were like, yeah, you know, it's just that the price is so high. They were higher in China than they were in the US because Iran was buying so many of them. Iran was pretty much just an open door, like whatever China has, they're going to buy. And I wouldn't be surprised if that has still been, you know, still going on to this day, right? Like electric is not going to be expensive over in Iran for, you know, with gas and everything. So then Iran funds, you know, certain organizations. So it's going to cause problems, I think. And it's going to be interesting to see like VAST and all these other platforms, because China, you know, because a lot of people are skeptical. We've heard of it. A lot of people in the community are like, oh, it's going to be used for password breaking or whatever. And, you know, all these different things, whatever compute could possibly be used for, it could possibly be used for. So it'll be interesting because China and Russia and all these countries will rent it. If it's advantageous, they will find a way to, you know, to rent it, and then there's going to be problems with that. So it's an interesting time, that's for sure. But
could you imagine a time in the US where we are not allowed to interact with certain IP addresses that are in certain countries, or where we would be in essence censored?
Yeah,
I'm sure that might come. I mean, think about it. There's only a certain amount of you know, providers that are going to provide you internet, right? So all they have to do is be sanctioned, and they have to govern. You know, it's their responsibility providing internet. So it couldn't be that hard for the government to say, "Hey, this is what you need to do now. You're sanctioned to do this, and this is the law." You know, just, you know, to keep the United States safe, basically.
Yeah, the thing is with China, I'm not sure if this is being done from a defense posture as opposed to more of a market posture, you know, where there's tariffs and all that kind of stuff. This becomes a negotiating point with China where, okay, we've done this, we can do more. What are you going to give us in return? So I'm curious if this could be maybe only a 1 to 2 year type of thing, and they're using it as a negotiating ploy.
Yeah. Do you think it's affecting them though? You think it's actually going to affect them that much?
I think it'll affect them some. I mean, right now, I mean, the tariff war that's been going on between the US and China has hurt both countries. It has benefited everybody else. It has benefited Mexico. It's benefited Southeast Asia with Malaysia and Vietnam and Korea. They've been exploding with manufacturing, electronics manufacturing there. It's been benefiting everybody but the US and China. And I lost my job because of the tariffs. I was working for an electronics manufacturer, and my customer, who had been thinking about moving to Mexico because it was cheaper to manufacture there, but liked the idea of being in the US because they could make quicker changes, and there was a lot of just easier to do business in the US. But as soon as you tack on 25% on top of the cost of the unit, because almost everything in their units was coming from China in raw materials, well, then it becomes a no-brainer. They don't have a choice. They can't raise their prices 25% overnight, otherwise people are going to stop buying. So yeah, at that point they said, nope, sorry, we're going to and we had plants in Mexico, but they were run by different groups, so it wasn't the group I was in. And they didn't offer to move me to Mexico. I wouldn't have gone anyway, but it didn't offer to move me to Mexico. So yeah, it was, and yeah, it was, I was surprised I was surprised they kept me on as long as they did, because it was rough. They were asking people to take vacation days, all that kind of stuff, because it wasn't just affecting my customer, but it was affecting the business with my customer the most. And, you know, I went from the customers that I managed being like the second highest out of 7 program managers to being last by a long shot.
Wow.
So yeah, it was it affected mine the most. So yeah, it's definitely hurt both countries quite a bit.
And it fueled the inflation here in the States tenfold, you know, mixed with everything with COVID and everything. Like, it was just a perfect storm of everything during all those times.
Yep.
And so now we're stuck with it. So
yeah,
it sucks, but.
Well, I actually feel like I think we're kind of right now in kind of a normal, like end of 70s type of economy that it does feel somewhat normal. Like, okay, it feels like we're going into a normal recession right now. Now, as long as the government generally stays out of printing more money, we'll go into recession. Interest rates will come down because they have to, and we'll be able to kind of swing back,
rinse and repeat
into a normal cycle again.
Just a normal cycle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we just got to let it, you know, happen and get out of the way. Let it happen. Let the Fed do what they're going to do to control it. Let them understand it. If the government gets involved, it's harder for them to understand exactly all the money they put into it, put it back into the economy. How is that going to affect? It makes things 10 times more difficult for them to know what moves to make. Yeah. So
speaking about moves, let's make a move and let this guy in. Movie star right here.
Yeah.
The Mining King.
Yeah. What's going on,
the king
fellas?
in the house.
Going on?
What's going on, King?
Yeah, so were you proud of me that I was able to answer that question?
I was, Dave. I was real proud.
That's right.
I'm just
learning.
It's all right. We'll just leave that. I'm proud of Dave.
That's right. Data boy.
So what are you working on tonight, King? You said you're gonna put another one up on TensorDoc.
Well, what's all this AI talk, man? I'm mining this Reed coin and this Pigeon coin. I'm a miner, man. What are you guys talking about? All this AI stuff.
What's his name? It's Mining King.
Yeah, you started all of this, King.
Yeah,
it's your fault.
It's all your fault. The only reason why we're doing this is because of you.
When I check out to a 4090, I'm like, damn it, King, damn it.
Whoa, hey man, what are you up to, like 10 now already?
No, I'll have 7.
9.
I'll have 7. Holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to do another one on TensorDoc. I was going to do today, but I think I'm going to upgrade it a little bit more. So,
nice.
I'm going to put an NVMe. I'm going to get the adapter for the workstation and put an M.2 in there. I'm going to stick another 32 gigs of RAM in that thing. Like, so one thing that's on like TensorDoc is kind of its own animal. Like really one reboot is going to kick you down to 99%. You know what I mean? 0.99. If you get down to 99, or if you get down anything under that, they're going to boot you off.
No shit.
And if you go down to 99.98, it's 99. If you get down to 99 with no nines behind it, you lose 40% of your pay. That's a penalty. So they're much more strict with their uptime. So if you're in an area, I'm sorry, Dave, I know you lose power over there.
Jesus.
If you're in an area like that, I wouldn't suggest TensorDoc. I don't think it's for you. Yeah, and
maybe for my shop. My shop, they just like, so the city electric is flawless, man. Duke Electric, complete shit, dog shit, no good, no dice. But my city electric that I cannot get, but I can get it at my shop, So, I guess you overheard I have some possibilities of getting some fiber to my shop.
Okay, so you're just gonna move everything over there? Or?
Well, it's not cheap. So we're talking about like $400 for 2 gigs.
Well, you don't need that much. Just do one.
It's $50 freaking less. So that's the problem.
Oh.
It's commercial, so they're gonna give me a tunnel that's going directly into my shop. It's almost like,
Yeah, as soon as you say as soon as it's a business address, you know what I mean?
Double the amount
of
money.
It's like the same service across the street for a regular person.
Yes, for like $65 a month.
Price. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I see you're at a business address. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Excuse me, let me wipe my mouth as I wipe off the drool because you're a business and I can make a shit ton of money off of you.
Exactly. There's no difference in the service. It's like complete and utter crap. You know what I mean? Like when I was talking the CenturyLink about my second line, right? Because I wanted to get like some static IPs, and they're like, "Well, we could move you we could possibly move you to business, but it's going to cost you like $500." And I'm like, "Why?"
For 1 gig, right? It's just ridiculous.
I'm like, "You're not even going to come out and physically do any work. The lines are going to be the same. The only thing you're giving me is IPs." Which are only supposed to cost like $30. You know what I mean? I'm like,
you obviously haven't taken any marketing classes because there's cost plus pricing, and then there's value-based pricing, and the value that it provides to you is much more than what the cost is.
You sound like one of those snakes in the grass, those damn car salesmen. I hate those guys.
Yeah, pretty much.
A gas station close to an airport.
Exactly.
It's but yeah, other than that though, I was ordering some parts right now for that little Goodwill machine I found. So
Wait. Ordering? You better. These are used parts though, right?
They are used.
Oh, okay,
nice.
all right.
They are used.
Be honest.
They are used. It is a used power supply because they actually came out with 3 power supplies for that same unit, right? Because there was different variations for the unit. So the biggest one they make for the unit is 380. So I got that one, and it has one 6+2 pin. So that's what we're going to use for the 3060. So
I was actually on a site. It was a free cycle, and I won't say the county, but it had a county name on it. It was a Facebook group, and somebody was giving away a what was it? A Z170 board. And it was actually a complete workstation, power supply, everything except for hard drive for obvious reasons. They didn't know what processor was in it or anything like that, but I was like, man, how many slots does it have? What generation is it? Was 6th gen?
Fucking Vast AI's killing everybody's brains right now.
I can make a Vast AI rig out of that, no problem. I'm like, what generation of PCIe? It was 3. Like, damn. Man. So I'm like, I was like, generally on those, they go by when you respond, and I was like the 6th response. So odds of me getting a chance at picking that up for free is slim to none. But it was, you keep an eye on those. You never know what you can pick up. People will give stuff away because they just tired of seeing it around the house.
I mean, the greatest thing is just that we're building this for Vast AI right now, but we could just the easy transition once Proof of Use of Work comes out. The transition is going to be easy peasy. Yeah. We already did all the hard work. We already, and we're making some money at the same time. So that's what I really like about what I'm doing right now, because I want to transition back to mining. I want to transition back and be a part of Proof of Use of Work. So that's the main goal here. We're all crypto miners, but King decided to show us something different, and now we have to do what King does now.
So here's the thing. What's really interesting
is you can go on dog shit.
I knew about a lot of the things. I didn't know about Neoxid when he started that. That he knew, but I knew about Vast AI, and I'm like, he just dives head in and is like, oh, this is interesting, and boom, he just does it. Doesn't give it a second thought, just does it.
Well, same thing with TensorDoc.
Evaluating, like, should I do this? Should I not do this? And by that time, he's already done it. He's done videos on it.
He's already 30 days into it. We didn't even start buying our first rig to even try to entertain it.
Yep.
And I think Vistang he did one, and then I was like, man, I gotta get on board of this. I'm gonna use one of my 3060s. I mean, it's a win-win situation. Worst case scenario, it does dog shit, and I can't do anything with it, but it's worth a shot. For I got 5 of them, and I'm like gonna set up another 4 or 3 in the next couple of days. Just this other one that Hobbyist Miner gave me, it's really putting me for a freaking loop, man. Like, yeah, so I made a new integration with a 10-pin or dual 10-pin. That's great, but I really need to find out and reverse engineer this stupid power supply and understand how the triggers are for this motherboard. So, like a fun fact, the motherboard gives you 5 volts out. So the red wires, basically the 5-volt lines that are on an ATX power supply, the motherboard gives you 5 volts. It doesn't ask for 5 volts. It gives you freaking 5 volts. It's like reversed. It wants 12 volt signal, and it dedicates and it gives you 5 volts for your SATA cables, for your Molex cables. It's nuts, this motherboard. If you look at the pinout, you could see all the colors. It'll show you the colors, and you could see like how how it's coming out of the breakout board, and you have the SATA cable power, and you have the Molex coming out. Take a look at that. It's coming from the freaking motherboard. And that power supply is only giving like 12 volts, but there's like a special trigger that I have to integrate a resistor to get a full ground to trigger an ATX power supply to turn the motherboard on. So I might need a step up relay to isolate it first and make sure that I can get that for a pure ground, and use another trigger, like a positive trigger, because the power supply rests at 5 volts, and then it doesn't even turn to pure ground. Then it's about 24 ohms it rests at. So it's ground, but it's still not that pure ground. I don't know, man. Can't even use a diode. It doesn't even trigger it. A diode doesn't even freaking trigger it to isolate it. It doesn't work when you put a diode in line. So it's crazy, man.
It's funny that you mentioned that, the 5 volt part of it, because when my daughter's PC was basically crashing, basically shutting off, the power supply was shutting it off. It was interesting to see, the 5 volt was still on because all the RGB was still on. So the whole thing just boom crashed. We replaced the power supply this weekend. It was a power supply failure. Now the cool thing about it, sorry, going off on a tangent, because that's what I do, is that it was a 5-year warranty, and it was 4.5 years in. So I got to go to Micro Center and drop it off and be like, yeah, this is bad. And be like, what's wrong with it? And I'm like, well, it isn't supplying the full power anymore, and hopefully they'll be able to run some tests. Center. What was that?
So lucky.
Yeah,
I'm like 3 hours away. Like, 3.5 hours away, man.
I would be broke if I lived near a Micro Center, because I built so many one in Miami. I would just like give me the credit card and just like,
bro,
I'll just make payments every
I'll be
month.
honest.
Like, and then there's the Micro Center credit card too.
It wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm just like
5% off everything.
Oh, I don't even want to know.
They would know me on a first name basis there, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, there are a few people that have recognized me there at times.
I am glad that it's like 3.5 hours. Yeah, Max Voltage. Hey,
they
right
do
here.
not recognize me for that. They recognize me for my real name. But anyway.
Now, one good thing about TensorDock though is you charge for your actual threads and your RAM, so you actually make more money, right? When the guy rented my 32 cores, I made like another 10 cents an hour.
No shit.
Oh, nice.
So even though it's only 0.003 per thread, when he rents a lot of them, right, it adds up. You know what I mean? Every gigabyte of RAM is 0.002. He rented 32 gigs of RAM. It added up. For that 13080, for 350 gigs of the NVMe, 32 gigs of RAM and 32 core or 32 threads, I was making 32 cents off 13080.
Yeah. Is he still renting it?
No, so that guy, he came on off really quick. The other guy that I make a lot of money from, he's still on it, and I'm making 26.75 cents from him, and I'm making 11.8 off the other guy. So I'm almost around 40 cents.
Nice.
So you do make good money there, but like I said, they're much more strict about their requirements and stuff like that. Yeah. And you definitely need to make sure you have all the proper stuff set up in your BIOS, for I think Intel it's like VTD or whatever, and IOMMU and everything like that, because they're going to install like all of these templates onto your PC, and then they just rent as much or as little resources as they want, right? Like one guy, he only has like 2 threads on me. So, and the other guy has way more. So it's not like Vast where it would equally split the rig. Here, people are able to rent as much or as little as they want.
So multiple people could rent pieces of your rig, like multiple people.
Say that one more time.
Multiple people can rent pieces of the rig. You're saying?
Yeah. So like one guy, he, and this is the really crazy part. So there's one guy who's on my rig who has he's on an instance, so he stops and starts, right? When he's stopped, he's paying 2 cents, right? When he starts, he's the guy who's paying 26.75. Well, he was stopped one time, and that other guy came on for 32 cents an hour, right? So I had 3 people on my rig at one time.
Holy shit.
Wow. Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that. So IOMMU is actually the technology that allows Proxmox to have PCIe pass through.
Yeah,
so it sounds like it's kind of like, because you're able to rent different pieces, it's kind of setting up VMs for different customers to take different pieces of it. So it sounds like that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, and they have all kinds of templates. Most of the like I said, their script is really easy. It's 3 commands. Most of it's just you just sitting there babysitting it, hitting yes and hitting enter every time it pops up and stuff like that. And then just you have to fill out the final form of what ports you forwarded, what's the username and password and the SSH port and all that other stuff, right? And then they'll confirm your rig after a few days, and then you'll get a thing saying that it's been listed. And then it took me 4 or 5 days, right? Because I had problems at first. I thought I enabled IOMMU, but I didn't. So I had to reboot it. But the guy was cool.
Wait a minute. Back up a second. You have to actually give them full access to your rig.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. You don't have to do that with Vast.
Well, so Vast, what they do is they run a benchmark test, right, to see if your thing will meet the benchmark, and then and then it'll just populate. Here, it doesn't work that way. These guys, they do all the testing, on your actual server, and then after they're done testing, and they give you the green light, they'll actually put it on the marketplace for you, but you're still able to, you can change your prices or whatever, right? I didn't change in the prices because I was like, dude, these prices are insane. I can't believe I'm this is what they suggested. I'm like, if I get this is going to be freaking amazing. And it's been great, right? But it's just it's much more strict. And yes, it's much more, what's the word I want to put? Like a data center, like AWS, right? Way more strict than Vast, right? Vast is wild the
West.
Projects,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Of the AI marketplace.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Because I would have been kicked off already, with the amount of, outages I had back to back. 12 hours and another one for 2 hours.
One reboot, which means the rig comes back on within 5 minutes. If you have an outage, that kicks you down to 99.98, and then if you have another one, then you would have been kicked off.
Well,
it is more strict, but I get it. They're trying to offer that really,
premium service.
Yeah,
but it's a premium price though. You're paying a premium price for a premium service though. So there's two.
Right.
So, UPC. Let's just say, what's the TDP that you think your power you'd be using, for that 3080, if need be?
It's 3 something. I think it's 3 something each. I got 2 of them.
Okay,
so it's probably that and the Epic. That's probably
let's say 800 watts
all in. Probably 750, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe 8 at the most.
Let's say 800, 1,000 watts. What type of UPC would you need if you had 12 hours downtime?
Diesel generator.
Oh, okay, you're talking about an uninterruptible power supply. Yeah, UPS, not UPC.
I'd say UPC. UPS.
Yeah,
Jesus.
UPS.
Yeah, the acronyms they get you sometimes.
To be able to power that for that long, you would be better off having one that gave you 20-30 minutes and then running a generator. You're not to run 12 hours. It would be massive.
If you had a generator, let's just say you had a generator, right?
12 hours. Why is the power going out for 12 hours?
Your house?
That's what I don't know, man. I pay my fucking bill.
What are you doing at your house, dude?
I pay my bill. So
I don't know anymore.
Dude, listen, Duke sucks, dude. Over here in North Carolina, sucks ass. It's just it's
you
so
lose
frustrating.
power for 12 hours? Are you serious?
We lost power for 12 hours one time. We lost power for fucking like over like almost 18 hours at one point. It's so where I live, it's an old area, but the amount of new construction that's going on, they can't keep up with the power. So you have major transformers that are just like blowing up and shit because they can't.
Yeah, they got miners on there.
They can't. Yeah. Well, I'm not the only one in North
All
Carolina.
Your battery rigs are overloading.
They got the veteran miner AI data center being stood up in the garage out there. What do you expect?
So if we use a generator, so I'm curious about this because I have not propane, natural gas to my home. So I could do like a natural gas generator that seamlessly hook that up if it needs to be used instead of gas or anything like that.
Yeah, you would still want a UPS though, because that transition of the power
it's
being,
gonna that switch off. Right, that switch is going to turn. You're still gonna have a lost in when it switches over.
Not with the UPS, you won't. No,
not with the UPS. But like, so you have the UPS for that split second, and then the generator could take over, and you're good to go. You're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just
like
you're
gonna have to have them all integrate though together to where you're powering your servers and stuff. But here's the other question, Dave. Though is I get your rigs are gonna stay on, but look, if you lose power, does your neighborhood lose power? Which means does the actual internet hub that's in your neighborhood go down? Because if that does, then there's no point in having the UPS and this generator. Because if you lose internet, it doesn't matter if the rigs stay on or not.
Yeah. So basically, I could do all of that and go fuck myself because it's never going to work anyway.
You can get the Tesla Starlink, maybe.
So I mean, I never tried. I don't want to see
my internet generators. if the internet goes down, there's no point in trying to save the server.
This is true, though. Matter. I mean, coax cable. I don't know. Like I have 2 different services that are available, but yeah, that makes sense though. Yeah, because you're saying that. Yeah. No, well, I don't know where they would have it connected because, like I said, I'm on Duke Energy, and most of the time, we were out for 12 hours. My local electric company was only out for a couple of hours, and they were up and running. The local city electric, right here. So who knows if when they built the infrastructure, is it on this local electric or is it on Duke? I don't know. But I mean, I have no fucking internet. I have no electricity, so I'm not gonna know if I have internet or not because everything's off.
Here's another alternative instead of the generator.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how much sun you get there. It works. It would work for me because I have lots of sun. But I mean, you could. But I don't ever like lose power down here in Arizona. So
yeah, it must be nice. I'm so sour because I just put those rigs on. I lost 12 hours, then another like 4 hours, like the next following week because of the stupid storms. What about
solar?
I'm not going to be in this house long enough to have solar. It's not worth it.
All right.
It wouldn't pay for it. Like the investment is just not. It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, and that price of fiber for 200s for 1 gig. Oh man, $200 a gig is.
No, it's 350, I think, or something like that. 350 or $400. I think it's like 350.
No, right. So it's like for 1 gig though, it's like $200. Each gig is
250 or some shit. Yeah.
That's pretty. It's
pretty pricey expensive. As shit. I mean, I can get my own static IP addresses.
Is that the only service? I mean, did you like just? Huh?
That's it. They don't even have
that
it
for sure. Because
100%.
I've found lots of hole in the wall internet companies over the years that service my neighborhood that you just don't know at first. You know what I mean? And one of them I actually got decent fiber for a half decent rate. I'm just saying, I would just Google your area to see what providers are even in there.
Just go on Craigslist, Dave. You can find some guys that can just come by, hook it up real quick.
Hook me up.
Yeah. Look, when I used to live in Tacoma, I mean, I used to
I
like
know
most
a guy.
people had Comcast, right? I hated Comcast because they're expensive. I went with this local company called, was it Rainier Connect? You know what I mean? And they got fiber out to my house. So I'm just saying there's lots of little smaller internet companies you might want to look into.
Right. I mean, like I have the same thing as Brightspeed, like you have, right? They call it Brightspeed for you?
Link.
Yeah. Is it Brightspeed or CenturyLink for you?
It's CenturyLink for me, but it's the
same thing, same
and
company.
all that stuff is all owned by Lumen.
Yeah.
CenturyLink, or Lumen owns those companies.
Lumen owns the companies. That Lumen is the commercial, and CenturyLink Brightspeed is the residential.
Yeah. They bought them out. Yeah.
Well, CenturyLink used to be commercial too. They used to have commercial access on CenturyLink, but obviously now you have Lumen now, right? But anyway, make a long story short. So I have CenturyLink. Basically, it's Brightspeed, same thing. I could get 2 1 gig lines just for like $65 a month. You can't beat that. I also can get cable internet at my home. They say 1 gig, but I had that originally, and that was like 800, and then maybe like 30 down or something like that, or upload or some shit. So
you can always call them, and you can always request for an adjustment. I did that once. I had 1 gig requested. I was testing it everywhere on my house with the cable. I was getting maybe 500, 600.
Well, it's shared though. That's the problem.
What do you mean shared?
So it's shared. So, coax cable is only going to be so good. So at the node, they're going to have the fiber line, right? And then they're going to bridge from the node, the fiber line that they have their access, they're going to bridge that off to coax cable through the homes. And it's going to be all shared. So that's the problem. You can get up to, and even fiber, when you're supposed to have symmetrical up and down, fiber, because it's residential, it's going to be shared. And the argument really doesn't. It's like
if you look online, it says up to,
and they'll market that.
Is they put out like a certain amount of bandwidth. Let's just say we'll say like 10 or 20 gigs for the whole neighborhood, right? Well, if everybody's using it really hard, like probably during like dinner time and when people are home, right? People playing games, you're gonna notice that your bandwidth is gonna get a little bit slower, right? But obviously early in the morning, later at night, when there's less people on, you're going to notice that your bandwidth is actually much better because it's a shared line. So more users equal less bandwidth.
Yeah,
but it speeds this up to.
I did this in the middle of the day. My whole family was there. I called them up. I told Verizon, hey, look, Verizon, I'm getting 500 megabytes of download right now, and we got a gigabyte contracted. What's going on? Made a bunch of tests. They told me, go check here, go check there, do this, do this, do this. Okay, check now. Boom, it's a gigabyte. I did completely nothing. I reset it, basically really nothing. They just up it up on their end. That's my experience on that.
I've seen that happen too on my end.
They just upped it
magically.
Well, they can, the problem is that they cap it. So the same thing at my new shop, right? That line that they're gonna give to me, it's a 10 gig line.
It's the same one that they would
give you. Yeah, it's a freaking 10 gig line. It's just whatever they're cutting the bandwidth through their systems itself. Sucks.
That's what I think they did. That's what I think exactly is they did, because I wasn't getting the gig that I had contracted, and I think they just upped it up. Maybe they kept it up like at 2 gigs, and I was just getting 1 gig out of That's what I'm thinking.
Well, something else that happens, at least when I got my CenturyLink, you get those all-in-one routers, right? You know what I mean? The CenturyLink is like a round white one. Dude, that thing was complete and utter dog shit. I'm not gonna lie. I was only getting like 250 up and down with that thing.
Shit.
The actual router itself didn't even have enough compute power to process like the Wi-Fi and all that stuff and give me the the 1 gig coming into my house. So that's why I got my own my own router, and I VLAN tag for the CenturyLink, and I just use my own stuff. Like, they call me all the time too because I don't use their routers. I'm just directly connected on to the RJ45, and they're like, yeah, we noticed that your router's not online. Is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it.
It's a lot fucking better without your shit.
Don't do anything.
Well, that's and not a lot of internet providers will let you VLAN tag into your own system too. It's like they have an open VLAN tag that you can tag your system, like that King has it. I have it as well. That I have it directly into my routers itself, my own router and modem, all in one by VLAN tagging.
That information is actually kind of hard to find, right? It's only on some Reddit stuff.
It's really hard to find. It took me like a month.
If you ask the tech, like, hey, what's the VLAN tag?
He doesn't want to tell you.
He ain't gonna know. He's gonna know what a VLAN is, dude. They're just knuckle draggers, all right? They just connect cables. Okay, like they're not gonna have any idea. Like when you call tech support, like I was on Google and I was searching the Reddit forums and stuff like that, and I was just like, why am I not getting connectivity? Like one guy, I read his post, like you have to tag the incoming line with 201.
.201.
Right?
Yeah.
My issue is I still haven't switched over to like MikroTik at home yet. I'm still on Draytech just because I'm lazy and
if it works, it works, right? It is what it is.
Huh?
If it works, it works. That's how
well,
I look
I'm
at
just
it,
like, man, I'm gonna have to like take everything out of the rack. I'm gonna have to like just redo everything. I'm gonna do it eventually, but it's just like, with that router, the weird thing is though, is because both lines are, because I have 2 1 gig lines, they're both tagged 201, so it doesn't automatically know which line is which. I have to actually make static route policies because it doesn't know which actual WAN to go out, right? Because they're both VLAN tagged the same VLAN, so it thinks it's the same. You can't just do automatic like load balancing or anything.
Yeah,
like
because
that.
it's still the .201. It's all the same.
Yeah,
so you can use their infrastructure. Like it'll be different if you're able to use their equipment, but their equipment is shit. So you can't do anything about it. Yeah, I mean, it works. I'm thinking about, I might get another line. I don't know. But like I said, my biggest problem is not the internet. It's making sure I don't go down with electric. And this has been for 2 years now, and we've had quite a few storms. So I don't know,
just
man.
Buy a bunch of forklift batteries and just hook them up to the grid and charge those things.
I don't know. Maybe I'll just hook up my golf cart or some shit and do a video and just put my golf cart on there.
Hey, I'm telling you right now, if you want to know about like the grid and charging like big battery banks, man, go hit up Crypto Shaped. It's all about it.
Yeah, that's another level. I mean, I should just do the generator anyway, like the Generac generators, just because of the amount of shit that happens over here in North Carolina, or just leave the state. One of the two. Something's gonna happen, and you guys are all you're gonna see it because I don't know, man. It's a pain in the ass. Go to Florida or something like that, and get like 5 gigs that I can't use, like Mike has or something.
I got about 2.5 now. So, or no, I think it actually is 2.
What, you tune down the horsepower?
Why, Mike?
Because I got too good at StarCraft, and so I had to. My ping was too low, so it wasn't competitive anymore for me.
Oh, that's funny.
No, it's just I realized after I got it, like everything in my house, like the NIC on everything is 1 gig max. So then I got this stupid USB adapter to Ethernet that's 2.5 on my computer, and then if it goes above like a gig, it overheats and just shuts off. So it's like it was just a nightmare situation. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna switch down because you don't even notice it, right? Like I mean, if I uploaded videos every day and really utilized that kind of bandwidth, then okay. But I don't know. 2 is good. I don't have any Netflix loads.
What kind of router are you using there?
It's some. I think it's an industrial grade. It's a mesh. Actually, I am so happy with this mesh system. It has not failed me once.
Yeah,
it's like a.
So yeah, you don't even have like a MikroTik or like Ubiquiti or like
the mesh system takes in 2 gigs, Mike.
Huh?
The mesh system that system you have it can handle 2 gigs.
10 gig mesh. Yeah, it can actually do 10. Yeah.
Wi-Fi or.
No, Wi-Fi. I still
hardwire.
Wi-Fi. I don't know. I don't have any device that uses like that much. So even my phone doesn't get. Here, I can see what I get on my Wi-Fi because I'm sitting next to this thing.
I'm curious.
Even if it had Wi-Fi 7, there's so few devices that have Wi-Fi 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like my phone's a 12 Pro, and yeah, I mean I get 600, 700, and then symmetrical. But it's like if I had 5 gigs on Wi-Fi right now, it'd be the same thing. You know what I mean? So it's like why did? And then when I spec out a Ubiquiti system, it's like $1,200, and then I'm like, I could just buy a 4090 and make some money. No, I'm kidding. But
no,
it's
you're
like,
not.
well, what is it actually going to do for me? You know what I mean?
Well, you also
really
have to get the
don't do all that
Wi-Fi
much
pieces
here.
too, though, and then a power over Ethernet. That's another. He has to buy another device.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say the biggest concern is, I guess, with that kind of network is going to be your security then.
Yeah, but it's also like I know this guy that has like a data center in Melbourne, and I kind of just eventually want to just throw all of the stuff there.
I knew that was coming.
So, yeah, because I literally have the Terra rack in my garage, so I'm like, just one day I'm gonna get fed up with it and just chuck it in the back of my truck and just throw it in Melbourne.
Go to Melbourne. I'm not doing this shit anymore.
No, I mean it's the nodes and stuff. I like working on that stuff at home. It's fun to do, but once it's in place and stuff, it's like I don't know. Once Melbourne's up and going and stuff, and I'm probably just gonna move stuff there and just pay Terra. It's like the same thing with the mining stuff, you know. I'm not gonna have mining stuff at the house when I could just have it over at Terra. So
but I don't know if I get my internet at my shop, it's hard to let go. I like going down in my garage and tinkering with all this stuff, and you know, making sure. I don't know. When I was mining, it was like there was a big thing. I was like, I always need to look at my cards all the time and whatever. Look at some RGB, whatever ones had RGB or some shit. And it's just like it's just weird.
I looked at enough cards. I've looked at enough cards this week.
I like to be a part of it. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, when I called you, you were like, "Yeah, I'm doing this."
Yeah,
it's crazy.
But it's good that they have the bandwidth available, and it looks like more people are getting fiber everywhere. So
yeah,
it's just gonna take some time.
Well, the company's called Metronet, so they're a big company. They are running their own lines, but I did find out today that they call it something black something. That means that they're use someone else's infrastructure and rent it. So they're most likely they're probably renting Lumen's infrastructure. Let's be honest.
Like a tier, was that tier layer 1 provider? Is that what it is?
T1. T1 is that? I think that's what it is. A T1. A T1 provider that you know Lumen's T1 provider. From my understanding, I think Verizon is a T1 provider too. If I'm not mistaken. I don't know. King would know more than that. He's the expert.
Verizon is not.
He's not. They're not.
AT&T
is T1. I thought AT&T and Verizon was another one. Because you know, I know AT&T has lines running.
There's another enterprise one that people aren't familiar with, and that's Cogent.
Cogent.
Yeah.
Cogent.
Cogent.
How big are they?
Yeah.
Commercial only.
They're pretty big, right? Yeah, they're huge.
Yeah, they're data center only.
Okay. Yeah, Blue Dragon Mining saying he has Metronet. I mean, Metronet is so.
Metronet's the next town over.
You'll get it eventually. If it's the next town over, then you're definitely going to get it sooner than later.
Well, the question is, will I get the 200 meg service from Comcast first? Probably, but Metronet I had a conversation with Metronet a year ago, and they said, well, we're rolling out to the school district. We're the second largest school district in the state of Illinois, so it goes across 5 different towns, big towns. You know, basically like 40,000, 50,000. Well, even Elgin's 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking a very large population, not as big as Chicago, but second biggest. Anyway, they had said that they're rolling it out to all of the school districts, and once they've done that, they have the infrastructure in place that they can now start rolling it out to the towns. They have rolled it out to the town west of me. Obviously, you guys could probably dox myself because you could probably pretty much figure out where I'm at now.
Anyway, where do you live? What's the address again?
Yeah, right.
Gonna order 100 pizzas.
100
right
pizzas. Let's not tell anybody about the ordering,
you're making
King.
me hungry, man. I am hungry right now.
I remember that one time I wanted Chipotle that one time, and
it's gonna be fine Italian pizza. Okay, it's gonna be Little Caesars, right?
Yep.
He said fine Italian. Oh my God! Thank God Mike's not on here. Forget about it.
So anyway, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the time where I can get Metronet. It's funny though, when the guy who was here from Comcast that I mentioned, he's like, "Yeah, dude, you need to get Metronet."
He's like, "This is awful."
They offer 2 gigs or something like that. No, from my understanding, one line.
Upload with what you're doing. You need the upload. You need to get Metronet.
Metronet, yeah.
Why don't you just send him an email, Max, and say, "Hey,
hello.
You know, this is Max Voltage from the Max Voltage, media group. We're a very big YouTube company. We are looking to expand, and we need fiber in our area. And just say here,
So Erted was saying that Verizon is a T1. They're saying the T1 has tons of mil and government contracts. I know they have military and government contracts, but what I was trying to say was
they're Tier 1 though, as far as like a fiber provider.
I know
they're mostly wireless.
But they have lines running from the United States in the water to other countries.
Let me Google.
Yeah, if you try to Google that, and then I know they have lines running AT&T, of course. We have like
sorry, I'm gonna use pre-search. Sorry.
We have we have personal like lines, like you guys. If you guys didn't know, we have tunnel and lines running in the freaking water from one continent to another.
Yeah.
So
internet.
yes, yeah, hard lines.
I didn't know that.
Pacific even.
Yeah, hard lines.
It used to just be Atlantic,
so-
but now it's Pacific as well. There's plenty of lines.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Are we
long
selling
of an
internet?
cord, I
or-
complain about 20 feet.
Yeah.
Well, what gets me is it used to be just like the big carriers that would do it because they were the only ones that could afford it. Now you have companies that are running their own backbones. They're not leasing it anymore. They're owning their own backbone.
Fun fact,
That's
you know,
crazy.
thousands and thousands of feet of fiber is not expensive at all. It's to house the like to make the infrastructure to make it all work is what it's expensive.
That
believe it or
and
not.
the fact that it costs a lot of money to actually lay
Of course.
the
Yeah.
line.
Okay, so
What'd you get?
Erd10 is right, but they're on the low. They're down the list on the tier 1.
Well, I just want to say
They're-
that I was right because that's what I meant to say too. I said that and you said no, David. And then I was just like, I know Erd10 knows what he's talking about, so.
I can't wait till you get that package I sent you.
Oh, what'd you do to it? What'd you do
You
to
just
it?
gonna have to wait and see.
Oh, should I just make a short right out the gate? Open it up live?
Lumen is
yes.
ranked number 1.
Yes, sir. I agree.
For tier 1 ISPs,
Mhm.
and Verizon is ranked 23.
Who's 2?
Number 2 is
Comcast.
this
Oh,
one
God,
website
don't
just
say that. Fuck, don't
they're
say that.
skipping all over. They have Lumen as 1, and then GT Communications as 7. The Zio Group is number 8.
Is AT&T anywhere? Or
yeah, they're number 25.
Nice.
no shit.
Really, Comcast? I don't remember Comcast being a tier 1.
I hope Comcast doesn't even exist, to be honest with you. It's such shit, man.
Yeah,
Comcast.
Let me look at another website. There's like a bunch of them that have like opinions of who's who, but like let's see if there's actually like an actual list. Here we go.
But it's just crazy, like how our infrastructure is built, right? In the water, different continents. It's just amazing how, you know, you could take this for granted and be like, my internet is out, but like how does it come about to have internet? You know, how does GPU risers get 5 gigs and we all get screwed? Like, you know, all this kind of things that happen here.
How does that work?
Number
though?
2 is actually a company in Sweden called Arleon. It's Arelion, formerly known as Telia Carrier. They're ranked number 2.
Wow. That's crazy. You learn something every day. It's interesting to me, like how all these things come about.
Yeah.
Why are the lines? Why are they going over the Pacific and Atlantic? Where are they going to? Why do
To
we
other
have these lines?
continents, to hubs.
That-
Yeah, they go.
Is that
Have
us
you ever seen
selling
the Lumen
internet?
map? Have you ever seen the Lumen map, dude? It's actually really cool.
No, I
Do,
have not.
King, do you want to show it?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it real
Okay.
quick.
What is it for? Is that companies that
Connectivity.
they're selling? But are they
Mhm.
selling?
I mean,
the
how do you
electricity?
think you
The-
get your internet to other countries? You just
Yeah, it's just communicating with
magic.
the whole world, you know. It's,
Nah, it's just not satellites and stuff. I mean, that plays a big part now, the satellites and stuff like that. But a solid line is a solid communication.
yeah. I was looking at that. Hold on, I'm looking for it.
and that's interesting. With
Well,
Starlink.
here, I'm on their
Mhm.
website, and here it's. Let me put it up over here. Share. Oh, whoops. Nope, not that. Do not share that.
Do not share that.
Just
Okay.
kidding. You get Dave banned on YouTube.
Oh God. All right, we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Show us, King.
So they have over 400,000 miles of fiber across the world.
Wow.
Can you make that
and actually,
bigger?
with our Lumen connection, we actually have a set amount of jitter for our connection. And if I ever see that the jitter reaches this, I can put a ticket in, and they have to fix the jitter and bring it down to a certain threshold, or else we could charge them. They'll start paying us money, right?
Well, yeah, because you're paying for a tunnel. Like you're paying for
Yeah.
You guys are on like a priority plan. Like you're not in some bullshit commercial thing. You're priority.
Yeah.
That's crazy though, right? Because you could lose money because like basically once you're using this infrastructure is to make money, right? Like what you guys are doing is to make money. So therefore it's not like your home base residential or even small commercial. This is to make money. So you're paying a premium to have the service. So therefore they have to basically, it's contracts to pay you money if they have downtime.
Oh, here you go. It's more blown up here. This is what I was looking for.
Yeah, let me see that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so
it's all over.
You can, this is down here in Florida. We'll go down to our. I'm not. That's Orlando. I think we're like over here.
Yeah.
Not giving me any other towns, so yeah, we're like here because I remember there's bridges. Yeah, so
there's bridges everywhere in Florida.
Yeah, I remember those there. Somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there.
You know what I mean? They're over there. So.
Yeah, it's crazy they lay these things across the world.
That's crazy. Are they in China? Is there a line going to China?
I think that. I mean, I'm
curious, so, actually.
Yeah, maybe to Hong Kong or something. I know that whenever Russia gets pissed off, they send their subs over near it, and we have like sensors in the ocean.
Sorry, it was my son, but yeah.
It's okay, King. See if there's a line that goes to China. I'm just curious.
I assume there is.
Yeah, the Hong Kong. Oh yeah, it goes through Beijing.
Look at that.
Like that. That's good to know.
That's excellent.
Look at all that fiber
right here. Installed for TikTok.
Fucking tied right into the United States.
Look at all that. Like right here at this point. Look at that. That's what, like, 1, 2,
what's happening in
3,
Shima?
4, 5, 6, 7 connections right there. That's a data center right there for sure.
What about right there? How many is that?
Here. Yep. These are all big data centers, I bet.
Well, you just verified, people. We are connected. We are hardline to China.
They really didn't like Africa. They just straight up.
They're just like, yeah, we'll just go around.
Wow, there's like no connections in there, huh? Why would you fucking go all the way around like that? That's weird. Is there a termination there at all? No.
I mean, too many of those countries probably would.
Oh, right there. Look.
Yeah.
There's a termination there.
It's like Cape Town probably has one here, a little one here.
Oh yeah, there's a couple. Here. It didn't look like it when it was blown up, but
one right here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like two right here, and right here.
Goes through Egypt. There's a lot going through Egypt.
Yeah.
So, interesting.
Okay.
I shared a video right there. It's a YouTube video of how these cables are laid on the ocean. I'm almost sure these are the cables that we're talking about, but let me know if those are the ones, because it's an extremely interesting.
Well, my friend he was laying some cable down, fiber cable down, in the borderline from the United States and Canada.
Okay.
That's what he does. He does for a living. I don't know what this is. Is this gonna dox me? What is this?
No. It's a YouTube. It's a link to a YouTube video of how they're laying.
Wait.
Be careful.
Oh boy. Imagine he gives me a fucked up link.
Watch it beforehand, Dave.
Oh god.
Watch it beforehand.
We're in trouble.
It's a very interesting machine.
Let me share it then. Share this tab. Let me share that. Okay. Let's build something. I still haven't gotten the thing on there. Hold on. Let me just make sure it comes on. Okay. So. Oh, okay. Let's. It looks feasible. Let's try it. We'll try it. So. Is that that's the line, right? That's the That's where the line's coming from.
Yeah.
Look at that shit.
Oh, it's going down, man. Whew.
I've never seen this before. Just found it on YouTube. Just
Nice.
What if it goes tangled?
This is interesting.
Are they terminated wrong at the other end of the ocean?
Imagine. Just completely.
Well, yeah.
I can't see how that would just drop to the. I mean, I know it's heavy, and I guess there's no.
Oh, they use duct tape too for that. Okay,
that.
No matter what scale.
Duct
I
tape.
like their style.
Hell yeah.
I love it.
But can you guys imagine the logistics of having to actually lay this line in there, like all of the life down there, all of the, like rocks. What the hell do they do if they stumble across a rock? Like probably there's a lot of money. Wow, I didn't even know this was a thing. Wow.
Yeah, this is nuts.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Huh. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
We get to, this is Terra's next venture. We're gonna get a boat.
You're just gonna run your own lines.
We're gonna lay fiber through ponds.
Just lay the pipe, huh?
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, on that note, so yeah, this is very interesting, there, friends. Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
I think that's good. But yeah, pretty cool. Anyway.
Never seen that before.
That's endless. That was good.
Yeah, it blows my mind every time I see it because I always forget and then I remember that actually is done. It's nuts.
Yeah, I don't even know. I guess this came about when I was talking to the fiber guy today at Metronet. But then basically I was just like, you know what? I could understand if it was like $200 because I know that's basically almost like double the amount of money for residential, right? Let's just say on a high point at 1 gig it's like $70, man. Symmetrical 1 gig for the norm, from my understanding. $70, 70 times 2, 140. Let's just say, I don't know, 240, 250, right? I thought that would be, on a commercial end. Now they're going to give you priority because it's commercial. It's not residential now. It's still going to be shared, unless you get into a different tier and he was like $800 for a different like 2 gigs. Like, how does any company warrant $800 a month for 2 gigs of service? Can you guys tell me how, why would you?
Welcome to Lumen. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm saying that's a small scale though, right? I'm just saying $800 for 2 gigs of service. How important of the shit that you're doing to allocate $800 for a business? Are you making that much money that you need 2 gigs of service? That's
yeah, I mean, if you have
government
10
contracts
on,
or something,
VoIP phones and stuff, and doing webcam calls and stuff like that, it might be worth it. It depends.
Well,
on
dealerships.
Business.
Okay, so dealerships make a lot of sense. A dealership, it'd probably be more than 2 gigs actually on the dealerships. But the dealerships, they pay for dedicated lines because, like you were saying, VoIP phones and everything like that. You have a shit ton of VoIP phones that you're going to be utilizing. So.
Yeah.
But on the average guy, the average business, that's what I'm saying, the average business. So, let's just say I needed 2 gigs as an average business. That doesn't... I don't know. I'd have to get some contracts in place or something to see if it was worthwhile. That's for sure.
Yeah, it depends on what the alternative is. If it's the only... if they can monopolize...
It's the only fiber. Yeah. And they don't even have it. They don't have it ran. They have to dredge it to my unit itself.
Oh, well, then they're going to amortize that installation cost over the term of the contract. That's probably what it is.
But they want to do it because they need to have. He told me he needed at least 5 contracts in the place in the facility. He needed 5 more people, 5 more companies to agree to it to get that cable in. I'm sorry, to get the fiber in. Yeah, because you're not going to pay the $15,000 or $25,000 is going to cost us to run the lines. But we do want you to commit for 12 months or 24 months now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's something to think about. It is what it is, though. But anyways, anybody else have anything to say? We've been going on for, I think, about 2 hours now, almost 2 hours. So
yeah, I'm gonna go grab some food. I'm getting hungry, dude.
We lost King.
You didn't order him a pizza? I mean, you guys were talking about ordering pizza for people, you know, when you were talking about me doxing myself. You didn't order him a pizza? You knew he was going to be hungry.
As soon as you said
Come
pizza,
on, Dave.
I know, I slipped on that one. Long day today. Well, I still have to get everything situated too with Max with these wires. Max, we got to talk about that too, because I know you added something to the list as well. So we got to write all that down. Well, we'll have Wired Wednesdays next week on Mike's channel, Vistang GPU Risers. And I appreciate Max, King, and Endless Mining joining us tonight.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
I appreciate it.
Always a good time.
There he
Thanks
is.
for inviting us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Even though you demanded it, but I like to be asked just for the record.
I'm getting paid to be here, guys.
I did ask. Hi, King. We were wrapping it up, but I wasn't gonna end it until you came back, though.
No, you can. Yeah, it's fine.
You good?
I got kids that are fighting, so
yeah.
Whenever you're ready.
That dude.
Oh, you ready to get back in it?
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up then, brother. Well,
all right, guys.
On that note, appreciate everybody, and we will see you on the next one on Vistang's channel next week. I appreciate you guys. Talk to you later.
All right, see you guys.